On your side.
Okay, we're on? All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to Tuesday, March 18th, 2025, Warrenton Board of Alderman meeting. If you would, please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So next item would be the consent agenda.
We have the regular meeting minutes from March 4th, 2025.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Romaker, seconded by Alderman Lang. Roll call vote.
Alderman Lang?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz is absent. Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Corder?
Yes.
Alderman Cullum is absent. Alderman Romaker?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 2 absent. Next, we'll have public comments. If there's anything you'd like to address any of us with, we ask that you come forward, state your name, and we'll give you 5 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. For the record, my name is Michael Schlenter. I live on Timber Drive in the southwest corner of town. I'm here today to discuss a challenge we are facing with our ongoing development on the southwest side of town. Since 1995, we've been organically growing and developing this area into a successful mixed-use neighborhood featuring single-family homes, duplexes, quadplexes, an assisted care facility, and senior housing. Over the years, we've worked within the zoning guidelines to responsibly develop this community, including the addition of 2 new homes in 2019, and we are currently building 10 new multifamily units approved under a conditional use permit. However, due to changes in zoning regulations, we now find ourselves unable to develop the remaining vacant lots in a way that aligns with the character of the surrounding area. We are about to circle back to where these problems originated, and I believe that if given the opportunity to present our case, we could avoid some of the same setbacks. I'd like to formally request a meeting with the Board and the Planning and Zoning Commission to explore potential solutions that allow us to complete this neighborhood in a thoughtful and cohesive way. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Probably you all know me, but I'm here to talk about the same thing. My name is Clifton Wolf. I live at 434 Highway U, the last house in the city limits. And I would like to read a statement made by one of my favorite aldermen. Getting back to a little different issue that you brought up earlier, I think when we do have this meeting to discuss the new proposal of the building code, I think contractors, like this gentleman here, need to be participating. He's built in Wentzville, he's built in Troy, he's built in Warrenton, and I think he would give us a broad base of different perspective. So if we see something, we say, well, this isn't problematic. He might see it from a different side. So I think rather than having us, 6 or 7 up here, who are are not really builders, it would be really helpful if we could pick 1 or 2 builders to participate in this meeting. So said Gary Ock on April 18th, 2017. I have been on many boards, many. Military boards, church boards, Warren County R3 boards. I agree with Gary. You need to get the information from the people that it's going to affect. I wonder if there were contractors' advice sought on these changes to the R3 zoning before the board voted on it, when the original change was made. Were they changes, or were they suggestions from people affected by it? I first came to Warrenton in early 1950, just to drive through the area. I was just driving through. The Westland College buildings were still here, the hills and the trees and the people. I loved all three of them. I was born in a two-room sharecropper's cabin in a cotton patch in the Depression. Third child, no electricity and no car. There were good people in that area, but there were no hills or trees. You can't grow cotton under trees. I've never been homeless, but I've been very close. I was assigned here by the Missouri Army National Guard in 1964 as the administrative supply and supply technician for the 3175th MP Company. At this time, Warrenton had less than 2,000 people in it. And the MP Company had 144 soldiers. And it was thought that it would fail because you cannot support that many soldiers out of a small town. But we did. And it continues to grow. I was the first sergeant here for over 20 years. Best job I ever had. I built a house in 1965 here in Warrenton. It was 1,000 square feet, 3-bedroom, 1-car garage. I went to the bank had a lot for sale. I went to the bank, I bought the lot, and I asked the bank for a $10,000 loan. And the banker said, yeah, we can do that. So he loaned me $10,000. And I built that house for $10,000. However, there was one bedroom where we didn't have enough money to put the carpet in. And we walked around on plywood for a while. That's $10 a square foot. $10 a square foot. It costs $250 now, according to the latest information that appears in the newspaper. I have bought, built, sold here in Warrenton. I've been involved in real estate ever since I got here. So I've had 55 plus years of real estate experience. I was a real estate salesman, a licensed Missouri real estate salesman. I was a licensed real estate broker. So I have a background in real estate as well as military. I was in the military for 41 years. I have pieced together 40 acres in the southwest part of Warrenton. It came in 5 acres and 20 acres and 17 acres. And I've cobbled together about 47 acres there. There's 13 duplexes. There's 3 fourplexes. There's 14-unit senior citizen housing facility. There's a 19-unit St. Clair of the CC, senior citizen apartments. And they are needed. When you go into that facility to sign up, it takes you 2 years. Once you get there to sign up, you're going to be waiting 2 years. Your income can be up to here and below, but it can't be up to here and above. And your age has got to be 62. So before you can get in there, you've got to be 64. And if it hadn't been for me, the St. Clair of Assisi would not be there. And I'm not bragging. All I did was make it possible for them to build there. And after they got approval to build there, they ran into a problem. They couldn't find a builder that could come up with $1 million bond. So I said, give me a couple of days, might be able to help you. I got them a builder. Those ladies will tell me, we would be in a nursing home if it wasn't for you. I said, no, it's not me. It's the St. Clair of Assisi. They're running that. And then after they filled up, the day they drove the last nail, they had it full, 2-year waiting list. And they came to me and wanted to know if I wanted to build some senior citizen housing. I'm always interested in senior citizen housing. I said, yes. So that kind of fizzled. It took 2 years for me to work that out to get permission to build that. So what we're trying to do is piece together some multifamily housing, single-family housing, and duplex. You can put those together. It looks to me it looks better than high apartments sitting right next to a single-family home. We're currently building 2 fourplexes and 1 duplex. That was the last permit on the original R3 zoning granted by the city of Warrenton. And in these 10 units, there's only 1 step. It's a 4-inch step to get from the garage into the house. 1 step, senior citizen. I wanted to talk to the board. And I've tried to get permission to talk to the board for the last 3 years. And I finally got a meeting scheduled. And I got a call the day before the meeting was to be held that there was a scheduling conflict. It would have to be rescheduled. That was about a year ago. I'm still waiting. And this 3 minutes is not long enough to discuss multi-million-dollar activities. These are going to be multi-million-dollar activities. And I believe Gary Ox's statement is 100% correct. Now I want to talk about changes to R3. Again, it is my opinion, this is not the place to discuss multi-million-dollar real estate changes. And please, correct me if my statements are inaccurate. I don't want to have to come back up here and apologize to you. So if you know I'm making an inaccurate statement, stop me and say, that's not right. At the September 21 meeting, it was decided that multifamily, R3 zoning, would be all multifamily. There'd be no single family. We asked for a grandfather clause. I'm asking again tonight for a grandfather clause. At that meeting, you added 200 square feet to the size of a house. At the current cost of building a house, that's about $50,000 you've added to the cost of the house. Warrenton has a homeless problem. So does all of Missouri. So does the USA. Richest country in the world, and we've had people freezing to death right here in Warrenton. The last board meeting on the 4th of March, it sounds to me like you want to increase the lot size to 100 square feet. And I just did not want to try to do this in 3 minutes. But here I am, because it's the only chance I'm going to have, it looks like. It won't affect already recorded lots. It only applies to new subdivisions. And 70 foot wide is the minimum, not the maximum. When you add 200 square feet to the size of a house and increase the side setbacks by 4 feet, it changes the appearances of the house. They seem to get lean and tall, long and tall. And everybody's got to have a 2-car garage. I've built 2-car garage houses, several, never lived in one. So when you drive by, it seems to me like you see more garage doors than you see houses. When you scatter the house out long ways on that lot, it looks, in my mind, My mind only, it looks a lot better than narrow, tall, long. And I'd like for you to leave the 70-foot wide. Reconsider changes and let the developers and the marketplace make some of these decisions. I came up here right before 2008, and I had a plan to put in. I've already built 140 lot subdivision. I had a plan to put in 30 more, and it passed. And those lots would pass today's your increased sizes. You don't have to hold a lot to 70 feet. That's the minimum. Are you aware that right behind Maggie Grace in that neighborhood on Oak Street, you can no longer put in single-family homes? That is zoned C3, I believe. Yeah.
Multifamily, not single. You can only build single family.
Oh, yeah, sorry, thank you. That's the reason I got her here. You can build businesses, but you can build residential there, but it reverts to R3. In R3 right now, you can only build single-family homes. So you can't build multifamily housing right behind over on Oak. You need to look into that. 19 July 22 meeting. No longer build multifamily, only single-family. We asked for a grandfather clause. The justification for the change came from City Attorney Christopher Graybill. He explained that the city is revisiting the development rules because the previous change, which set aside the R3 zone exclusively for multifamily, created unexpected hurdles to development that the city didn't intend. You changed a change within 6 months. Now we're talking about another one. A change to a change to a change. It is hard to have engineering work done, and then you get a change, and it's wasted money. The same date, Christopher Graybill stated. Graybill added that a provision in the new rules allows subdivisions which were already platted and approved to still become to still include duplexes. Any future issues being experienced by developers can be handled with additional adjustments, Graybill said. That didn't happen either. It's hard to get something that you're not afraid is going to change. The original R3, when Warrenton decided we needed zoning, there was a city zoning meeting. A lot of people there. I was there. We now have a change to this. It appears that we are going to get another change to this 100-foot wide. We don't need 100-foot wide, my opinion. All within 3 years. It's damn difficult to pay an engineer the price that they charge and just have to throw it in the trash can. Now I'd like to talk about the PUD. It's the only multifamily, as I understand, again, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the only multifamily that you can build in Warrenton. It takes 3 acres or more. And as I understand it, they must be multifamily. And as I understand it, you have to sell the whole 3 acres at one time. You cannot sell any one building in that 3 acres. You got to sell it all. That's a problem. I guess that's about all. I didn't want to say that here. I wanted to say this in a where what looked like a work process when I came in. I would rather have said it there. But I have just come to the conclusion that I'm not going to get to say anything unless I say it in 3 minutes. 5 minutes, sorry about that. Do you have any questions or any comments?
Well, I guess that was a lot to take in, to be honest.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
But no, you're right. There are a lot of changes going on because of the factors of a lot of, I don't know how else to call it. A lot of factors come up that we didn't take into consideration. And we have done some changes in the past. A lot of them orchestrated by myself or someone else because of needs of different builders who've come to us. And we're trying to slow down on some of that process before making other changes and trying to get something on the correct level, and understanding there again some of the changes that are happening within laws on what we can do for grandfathering certain things in. That was another thing that you did bring up, and we haven't taken that off the table. I mean, I get what you're saying with it, and I know that it feels like we're hanging on forever. But it does take, I mean, I know you know it, but it takes some time to get both boards to get together.
Yeah.
And we have had some work sessions. I'll fully admit it wasn't on purpose, but I don't think it may have not have been properly advertised.
Well, it probably was. I don't do this high-tech stuff.
You know, I mean, we're always advertising it like it should be. What I'm saying, though, is we didn't put anything letter-wise out or what be it. But that is part of those considerations ongoing. And when we thought we had it wrapped up, the last meeting we just had, by the end of it, I think after we thought it was going to be a 30-minute meeting and it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours, it was finally called by me and said, this has got to be put off until we can discuss some of the other issues that have come up.
Was there anybody there other than the board members? Or did you invite any builders?
So we didn't invite anybody. We left it an open workshop meeting. But it was P&Z as well as our board, our two board members, I believe. But a lot of it was brought up on notes that we'd been taking, or at least I know that I've been taking from discussions, not only with yourself, but with other builders, to try and apply some things and streamline some things down. And I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but it does help with a lot of big builders and small builders to streamline it. A lot of the issues you brought up are same issues that have been coming up about even just adding a 200-foot sunroom onto a new build would have to go through a new blueprint process, which is a tremendous amount of money for a small builder.
Yes, it is.
And that's what we're trying to get around is trying to find something that can confine some of those issues and say, okay, these adjustments can be added through an engineering project that doesn't require you to go get blueprints, but it can be found in different ways to be added. It's a learning process for us too. And I've got to admit that. I know we're doing a lot of changes, but it's still, it is a learning process for us. But I agree with you. We have asked some builders to come. We've even had some open meetings with some builders, and not a lot show up.
Ask me.
I'm afraid to. No, I'm actually not.
Well, I think.
Ask Michael.
Well,
on the side, we
asking-
have conversations.
I think asking, I agree with you, Clifton, that we need more input, but it's not fair to send you a letter and everybody else. Then guess who catches hell over that? We do. I mean.
Well, just call me. Don't
I
send me a
know,
letter.
and I do, and I will. But I'm just telling you, sending a letter to one specific person, ask those guys in the suits over there what happens to us at that point in time.
Well-
And that's what's frustrating up here.
Well, I'd like to
with a lot of that
ask
stuff.
these guys in the suits a question.
Well, but let me reiterate on that. Here's the other issue, and I'm going to catch heck for this because I know somebody's going to take it the wrong way, but I'm going to say it. it's easy dealing with someone like you who's truthful and upfront. Not so easy when you're talking about a builder who's always worried about dollar signs. Because then we got to read through the lines to say, why are you asking for this? I get it. I'll sit there and tell you, you've always been upfront with us. Even when we butted heads or not agreed, you've always been upfront, and we've tried to be upfront with you and get through things. It's not so easy with some of those other builders, because some of those other builders are all looking at that final dollar sign, not what's good for the community. And that's where it does get tough for us in some areas. Now, there again, I know we have to take everybody individually as they come.
Yeah.
But that's where we got to try and protect ourselves too. And I think that's what gets frustrating, at least for me, and I think I'm speaking for a lot of the board, that it gets hard to muddle through some of that to get to where we need to be.
Well,
But I understand what you're saying. I
since
fully
you've
do.
got the suits involved, I've got 4 lots. They've been recorded for years, probably 20 or 30 years. They meet all the requirements. And when I call down here when I quote Attorney Grayville's quote saying we can still build those duplexes, I think we can too. We've spent a lot of time, Michael and I spent a lot of time researching this. I think he's right. But when I call down here, I get a different answer because it doesn't read that way. You've got a good board. I mean, you've got a good staff, an excellent staff. But and I call them all the time because I can't get an answer.
Well,
But they can't vote.
But amazingly enough, that was the topic of conversation at the last workshop, was your plots. It wasn't because of you, it was because that is the topic that we're at on grandfathering and what we need to be doing and how
Oh,
we
if you
need to be
grandfather me,
attacking things.
that'll be you won't see me again.
But you see what I'm saying? I mean,
And I am grandfathered,
that's
by
the
the way.
one that's on there right now. I'm just sharing with you what was at the workshop. It was an open meeting. Yours was the topic because that's the prime one that's on the front lot of what are we supposed to do with this?
We used it as an example.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Exactly what we did. And
Just
we
because that is
Talked at-
that is where we're at, of
Right.
trying to figure out how do we handle not just yours, everybody else's too, that may be capable or at the level of grandfathering. And right now, I can tell you, do I have an answer? No. Are we working through an answer? Yeah, we're on the lead of yes.
But we've been saying that for 3 years.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me
don't know what
give
to
you
tell you on that.
one more example. I've got a lot in between 2 fourplexes, 2 duplexes, and across the street from a fourplex. And I get a call from a lady. I had my for sale sign. I get a call from the lady who wanted to buy that. And she said, "What's the price?" I gave her the price. She said, "It's R3." I said, "Yes, R3." She says, "I can do that." And then I said, I'm not going to get somebody out on a limb and not tell them.
Right.
I don't think you can build anything but a single-family home there. She's wanting to do some developing. And she says, are you sure you understand that? I said, well, I make a lot of mistakes. However, if you'd like to get the straight answer, just call 636-456-3535, and when they ask you what number you need to talk to, punch 6. And I says, if you do that, call me back. I'd like to know what they said. She did it. She called me back. And she says, you're right, but he says, we're working on changes. And I said, yeah, they've been saying that for about 3 years. So, I guess I better say that.
No, you're good. 'Cause
And that was, Clifton, believe it or not, that particular lot was brought up and discussed at length that night too. So I was there, and you believe me, your ears were probably burning.
Well,
In a good way. In a good way.
well, yeah, I know. I hope everybody on this board and over here is my friends.
Well,
And I
talk
will
about
do
that
nothing. That's the reason I didn't want to do this here.
No, that's fine.
Because I don't want to brings something up, that's kind of rabble-rousing. That's
really
what you
isn't.
would call
No.
Honestly,
stirring
it's
the
not.
pot.
Nope. I don't believe it or see it that way.
Yeah, not at all.
Good. Thank you very much.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Does anybody, I'm sorry, I didn't ask. Anybody else got any questions for
Oh.
Mr. Wolf? No. Sorry about that. I figure I better get you before you go. Is there anyone else who would like to come up and discuss any issues? Not seeing anybody, we'll move on. Board of Alderman comments. That was pretty easy. We're on to City Administrator, Brandy Walters.
Good evening. The first thing that I have for you tonight is the right-of-way vacation policy, the ordinance. So we had discussed this previously about adding vacates when when somebody requests us to vacate a utility easement, and we wanted to add that to our code as an application process. So that is what this bill is for tonight, is to add that to the code. There is a $100 application fee because we have been doing those with no charge whatsoever, and the city, between city staff fees and filing fees and all of that, that just all adds up. Tim will be presenting the schedule of fees tonight, but this is just for the bill to add the vacate to the code.
So before we move to that, Mr. Wolf, I'm going to tell you, my fault. I should have said this to you when you were up there. You can hold me accountable on this. If you don't have a date for a meeting within the next 2 weeks or by the next meeting, please come back and see us. But we will set a date. Just let us try and get with some of the P&Z guys and gals and the rest of the board.
Our mission was accomplished. Thank you, Mayor.
I just didn't want to leave without saying that. I was going to ask you to stay, but I really don't think that's fair to ask you to stay either. So, but yes, we'll have something and we'll directly get a hold of you.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead, Brady. I just wanted to say it before I forgot.
Hope it didn't piss anybody off.
Oh, you didn't.
So this is just a bill tonight to add that vacate to our code.
Okay. Any questions on that?
No.
All right. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 11-25.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Romaker, seconded by Alderman Lang.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, amending Chapter 520 of the Municipal Code of the City of Warrenton, Missouri by enacting a new section 520.080, adopting a right-of-way vacation policy.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading of bill number 11-25.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Corder, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri, amending Chapter 520 of the Municipal Code of the City of Warrenton, Missouri by enacting a new section 520.080, adopting a right-of-way vacation policy.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Corder?
Yes.
Alderman Romaker?
Yes.
Alderman Lang?
Yes.
Bill passes 4-0 with 2 absent.
The next thing I have for you tonight is a bill to sunset or repeal the half-cent capital improvement and sales tax. This was when we had developed the new overpass. We put in place 2 half-cent sales tax, and this is to sunset one of those as we had promised during that voting. The final payment will be made on March 31st. And the original loan had the last payment scheduled for March 31st of 2037. So I'm happy to say we're paying this off 12 years early. And with those extra payments that we have made and paying off early, it is saving $2.4 million in interest over the lifetime of the loan. So this bill tonight in front of you is just to repeal that sales tax so that we can get that sent over to the Department of Revenue.
2 things that I'll comment on. Number 1, you guys on this board and you guys as staff have no idea how good it is to finally say something that we're reappealing on a tax level. Secondly, it feels even better to be able to say we said it from the get-go and we stuck with it the whole time, and now it's coming to be. I'm not knocking anybody else, but I don't know many cities that can really say that, and they usually spend the money somewhere else instead of sticking it where it belongs, which is exactly what we said we'd stick to, and we have. So thank you to staff for allowing us to do that. But secondly, if there's ever an integrity issue, I think that's something that the citizens need to be proud of, is that we stick to what we say we're going to do and we do it.
I'd like to add to that the new overpass will be a welcome when they tear down the current bridge to rebuild that, because at least we won't have to get off at Wright City or Truxton. We can actually get off at a Warrington exit. So congratulations to the board prior to me that decided that was a great idea to put that overpass in. I think it's going to help the community in the future, and will bring a lot of industry this direction, and be able to use that overpass during the construction of the third lane.
And I know there was a lot of miscommunication when that happened. I don't remember any of us going, well, at least I know myself, never went out and advertised that for bringing business here. It was always advertised for safety and being able to get around when we couldn't before, and you were stuck out on the highway forever. It was a major safety issue, and that's why the relevancy of it came up. You're
We're
correct.
fortunate to have it. Fortunate to have it. So.
Any other comments?
None.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 12-25.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Corder, second by Alderman Lang.
An ordinance repealing a capital improvement sales tax and authorizing certain actions in connection therewith.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading of bill number 12-25.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Rollmaker, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance repealing a capital improvement sales tax and authorizing certain actions in connection therewith.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Corder?
Yes.
Alderman Rollmaker?
Yes.
Alderman Lang?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 2 absent.
And then I just have a couple dates for you. You received an email regarding the MoDOT groundbreaking. That is on Thursday, March 20th at 10 a.m., and that will be at the eastbound I-70 way station in Forestell. And then Greater Warren County Economic Development Council has invited you to Cocktails and Conversations, which is March 25th from 5 to 6 at Social House. That's all I have.
If you would, when is the thing on Thursday?
It's at 10.
That's at the closed way stations?
Correct.
The eastbound, right?
Yes. Do we need to RSVP for the 25th?
Yes.
Thank you.
What was the time on the 20th? I'm sorry.
On the 20th?
Yes.
10 a.m.
That's at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Just remember that access is off the service road, not the interstate, if you're going to that,
Why can't I park on the highway and just go in?
which one, but
Right ahead. You might have that special card.
No, it'd be special lights and sirens behind me is what it would be. Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we will hear from Director of Operations, John Struckoff.
evening. First item I have for you tonight is the monthly admin report. This is actually for January and February, since our February's meeting was canceled. I apologize. So a couple things to note was we talked a little bit at that discussion before this meeting about the citizen communication. Just for reference, last year alone, we had 115 of those, and that's all comes from the online complaint system, our concern system. So with our news website coming up soon, sorry, lost my train of thought there. Website coming up soon. It's going to be a little different, but it's still going to be about the same communication-wise. So then everything else is pretty much business as normal for beginning of 25. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't think so. No.
All right. Next thing I have for you tonight is an agreement with MoDOT. This agreement is the one of the last pieces of the puzzle for the North 47 sidewalk projects. This agreement was supposed to be done during construction. There was a couple staff changes that didn't get done. We've been working on it for the past few months with legal here to get it ironed out with MoDOT. I'd like to thank Brad for really helping with that. So if there's any questions on this agreement, I could answer them, or Brad.
John, would this open the city up to any more legalities, any more liabilities by accepting the sidewalks? Do we accept any more responsibility for those?
No, I mean, this is just a maintenance agreement, basically. So the sidewalks are still going to be on MoDOT right away. This is just a maintenance agreement part of it.
Questions? No. All right, I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 13-25.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Motion made by Alderman Crump, seconded by Alderman Romaker.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri authorizing the execution of an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission regarding the maintenance of certain sidewalks located along Route 47.
I'll entertain a motion for second reading of bill number 13-25.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, who we going with first? Jump in.
Give it to one of those guys.
I'll take it.
We'll give it to Alderman Lang, seconded by Alderman Quarter. Make it easy so everybody's got a little portion in it.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton, Missouri authorizing the execution of an agreement with Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission regarding the maintenance of certain sidewalks located along Route 47.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Romaker?
Yes.
Alderman Lang?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 2 absent.
Just have a couple other things to run by real quick. The traffic survey, or the traffic study survey, is still out till the end of the week. As of yesterday, we had over 500 responses on that survey, most of which have came from residents in town, which is great. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback from that. We got a follow-up meeting with them tomorrow, and we'll wrap that survey up at the end of the week. So if you know anybody, or if you haven't done the survey, please do. The more the merrier on that. So, and there'll be more to come on that study as we keep moving towards completion of that. So, a couple dates: May 10th is the citywide garage sale. May 17th is a citywide cleanup and fall festival featuring Butchwax and the Hollywoods, Shotgun Creek Band, and Joe DiMessina as the headliners. That's September 20th. And all those events are posted on our website, Facebook, all our socials. More information. Vendor applications should be coming out in the next week or so, I would imagine. And then sponsors will be in the summer. So
The citywide cleanup, that'll be stationed at the fairgrounds?
that is at the fairgrounds again, correct. We're going to try to attempt to relocate it at the fairgrounds to make it a little more efficient this year, because there was some long wait times last year. So, but we're working on it.
It was pretty crazy last year.
It was,
You guys were busy.
yeah, that's an understatement.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Next, we have Building Commissioner Mike Ross.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Board. You have my monthly report. I'll touch on a few highlights. If you guys have been by the gas station there off Warrior, you see Parkview Estates is well underway. New elementary school is really moving some dirt and getting some things ready to get going after that pretty hard, which, I don't know if you know, that'll be an 18 to 24 month project before that's done. Now, probably the same thing with the hotel once that gets started, hoping to issue permits on that here within the next 2 weeks or so. The new stakeout down there at the Warrenton Outlet Mall is coming right along. They're getting a lot of work done inside. He's looking to hopefully be open in June. Just on some of our part, last year at this time, we had about seven houses under permit. This year we've got 14, or 16, I should say. then I've got 4 more on my desk getting ready to pop out. So we're off to a good start this year.
Real good start.
Are those mostly in the current subdivisions, or are they kind of scattered out?
They're scattered just about everywhere.
Okay.
Yep,
Good. That's a good thing.
that's all I have for you, sir.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Next, we're from Chief of Police Larry Eller.
Good evening. Just have one agenda item for you tonight, and that's the monthly report. If you don't have any questions, I do have some shameless plugs, as per usual. The first would be Friday, May 23rd is the Law Enforcement Torch Run to benefit Special Olympics. I'll have more for you on that as it gets closer. Obviously, same as every year, it'll kick off here. Or correction, it'll end here, and there'll be food and guest speakers, etc. Second item being 2025 marks the end of our 4 years of being accredited. We had to, just last month and a little bit of this month, we completed our web-based assessment and our on-site assessment to get our second accreditation. Completed both of those with only a few minor issues discovered, which have all been remedied, and hopefully in August we'll receive our second accreditation. That's all I've got for you.
Looking forward to that.
So am I. Staff put in a lot of work to make that happen.
I'm sure they have. So the past 4 years, they put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh, and the way that it fell is usually you would just do a web base. Well, we did the web base and then turn around 2 weeks later, we did the on-site with inspectors here checking us all out, so.
Kind of good to have them there, just to be able to check or modify or do anything we need to.
Yeah, Nancy's getting a well-deserved vacation right now for,
I'm sure at some point Nancy's ready to get away to a nice tropical place that has no computers.
oh, absolutely.
Anything else you got, Chief?
No, sir.
All right, any comments or questions?
No.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, we're from Director of Planning and Development, Tim Burke.
Good evening, Board. You have my February and January monthly report. One item on the February report, we had one business, Betsy Flippin' Boutique, opened up at 117 East Boone's Lick on February 14th. Do you have any questions on the monthly report?
Do not. No.
So the next item is the approval request for an amendment to section 405-400, application and review fees, ADM 140. The only change on this was the commercial and residential variance request went from 125 to 1,500, and we added a $100 processing fee for the vacate process. Those were the items we discussed during our planning meeting. A public hearing notice was posted in Warren County Record on February 13, 2025. This went in front of the P&Z Board, where the motion passed 6-0 with 4 absent. Do you have any questions?
I don't believe we, no. I think we discussed that through that meeting.
I think there are any. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 14-25.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Corder, second by Alderman Romaker.
An ordinance amending section 405.400 of the municipal code of the city of Warrenton, Missouri regarding application and review fees.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading of bill number 14-25.
So moved. Second.
Go ahead. Romaker. Motion made by Alderman Lang, second by Alderman Romaker.
An ordinance amending section 405.400 of the municipal code of the city of Warrenton, Missouri regarding application and review fees.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Lang?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Corder?
Yes.
Alderman Romaker?
Yes.
Motion, or bill passes 4-0 with 2 absent. Anything else, Tim? Okay, thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the regular Board of Alderman meeting and go into executive session for personnel and legal counsel. Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by McCorder, second by Alderman Rollmaker. All those, nope, roll call vote, sorry.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Alderman Rollmaker?
Yes.
Alderman Lang?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 2 absent, and we are so adjourned.